Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Maria, if you'll let me know when we're recording.
I'm good. We're good. Go
We're
ahead.
good?
Yes,
Thank you.
sure.
Well, welcome everybody. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. This is the Cottonwood Heights City Council work session. Thank you for being there and for allowing me to do this remotely again today. The first item of business is item number 2, a review of our business meeting for this evening. Council member Newell has again agreed to Mayor Pro Tempore did that meeting for us. And we'll begin with the pledge. Councilmember Newell, do you have somebody already?
I did not select anybody yet.
Okay, I'll let you do that. A reminder that after the pledge, the City Council committee reports are planned for this evening. And then a citizen comment period. We have, what was that?
It was somebody got voluntold.
Oh, good. Thank you. We have 2 standing quarterly reports tonight, and the first one will be from our Finance and Administrative Services Director, Scott Jurgis. We're looking forward to that, Scott. And then our Assistant Chief Riley Pilgrim will do our Unified Fire Report for this evening. So there are then 2 action items under consideration. The first being item 6.1, consideration of ordinance 425 amending the Wasatch Boulevard master plan element of the city's general plan. We're going to discuss this in more detail under a staff report, so we won't go into it now. And then item 6.2, consideration of resolution 2024-70 concerning the DRC, the Development Review Committee. So Mike, we don't have that under a staff report, so we'll have you give a little bit of a background of what we're voting on. This is what we're voting on. It actually comes from ordinance. We're required to do this vote every year. So Mike, I'll give you the time.
Sure, yeah, thanks, Mayor. When the council approved a comprehensive update to the sensitive lands ordinance last year, one of the updates that was in that ordinance was to the definition of Development Review Committee. Among other things, it required that the council by resolution approve the membership of that committee once per calendar year. Prior to that, it did not require an annual resolution. There was a resolution adopted in 2021 by the council that listed out the various departments and positions that make up that DRC. The resolution in front of you tonight is very similar to that, in terms of which positions make up that committee. However, we are bringing it to you now because of that new requirement to do this annually. We're proposing to do it by positions again, and then we have some as-needed members, including the city attorney, the city building official, and the city geologic hazard consultant. The reason those are as needed is because the DRC meets for a number of different reasons. Sometimes we're meeting for something as simple as someone wants to build an addition onto their house and they have questions about the process. Probably don't need an attorney or a geologic hazard consultant in that case. One of the functions of the DRC is to review sensitive lands scoping procedures and issue land disturbance permits. And in those cases, we often do need that additional expertise. Those positions, those as-needed positions, are appointed by contract. So the council has contracts with, the attorney, the building department, and the geologist. So in terms of qualifications of those positions, those are settled by a contract approved by the city council. The rest, the regular membership, is just staff in the various development-related departments within the city, as well as Unified Fire. So that's our recommendation. We'll bring something like this to you annually based on the 2023 updates to the sensitive lands ordinance.
Any questions, comments on this from the council?
I guess I have a process question. I don't quite understand obviously the DRC acting in roles that are exclusive or excluding the sensitive lands 19.72. have a lot, likely, a much lower threshold of liability and risk for the city. And so the process part, I guess I would like to better understand is, at what point is the, let's just say the heftier DRC membership called in? I understand that's called at your discretion as the CED director.
Mhm.
And so as a council, what we're doing by implementing this action today, legislative action today, would be to give you the authority to make the discretionary decision on who is in any given DRC meeting. And that may stand separate from some other concerns that I have within the SLED's ordinance related to the DRC and, you know, when the minutes are kept and some of those issues. So as a council, can we review the DRC meetings, for instance, for this last calendar year? You know, I just think that the financial risk, obviously the safety, if should there be tragedy related to landslides and earthquakes, you know, is a tremendous liability for the city, both for our citizens and safety and for the financial liability. So, in terms of the record trail, can you tell us a little bit more about that? The record trail for the DRC meetings and who's in attendance and what action steps are taken related to sensitive lands is really my.
Sensitive land specifically?
Yeah,
Sure, the definition of DRC is in the sensitive lands ordinance. So within that function of the DRC, as it relates to pre-scoping and sensitive lands procedures, there's some additional requirements, and that includes maintaining summary notes, recordings, and or minutes for all of its meetings. And then there's another section of that ordinance that talks about procedure. So anytime someone wants to scope a site to assess hazards and you know, take soil samples or do fault trenching, it kicks into a procedure that's codified elsewhere in the SLED's ordinance. So when, and we call those pre-scoping meetings. So it's a subset of DRC that's specifically focused on scoping hazards. When those occur, we invite in the geologic hazard consultant if the hazards are geologic in nature. Now, if it's a groundwater issue, we may not need geostrata in there. But if it's steep slopes, fault mitigation, you know, debris flow, rockfall, any of those, we invite geostrata in. The requester of the meeting signs an acknowledgement that they are responsible for any special review fees assessed by geostrata. So we're very upfront on that. We follow that procedure process, which includes them submitting a scoping plan, a scoping letter, holding the pre-scoping meeting, and the issuance of a land disturbance permit. So we follow the procedure that's codified. If it's not related to SLEDs, obviously it's more of a, we just have staff expertise around the table. And if it's involving a building or structural engineering, we may invite the building department. But if it's, hey, I want to subdivide my land and I need to know what process, we probably don't need geologic hazard consultants. We probably don't need the building official or the city attorney at those meetings. So there is some discretionary nature to it. I will note it's no different than it has been as codified or approved in that 2021 resolution.